Oh, I match with my... I match with my chair. I have thought long and hard about this. But I think I've finally come up with a team of 6 Pokemon to take with me on my journey through the Sinnoh region. Hello everyone, my name is rbertchristian, but you can call me Robbie for short, and today I want to talk about my team for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl because I am very excited to return to my youth. I'm still young, but millennials like to joke that our generation is always sad and aging like milk because really we are just overworked and underpaid. But moving on, I have chosen a team of 6 Pokemon using my favorites, diverse types, and Pokemon I've never used before. So first we gotta start with our starter, and out of the 3 choices, I'm going with Piplup, which will eventually evolve into Empoleon. Empoleon is a water and steel type, the ability Torrent, and if you've seen one of my previous videos, top 10 favorite Pokemon from each color according to the Pokedex, I know it's kind of a mouthful of a title, you will know that Empoleon is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. It is my all-time favorite starter, in fact. And I am aiming for a final moveset of Scald, Flash Cannon, Ice Beam, and Protect. But Empoleon is weak to Electric, Fighting, and Ground. So I want to build a team around this starter Pokemon. So first I want to cover Empoleon's Fighting type weakness. And for that, I want to use a Drifblim. Drifblim is in Ghost and Flying type, so it's kind of perfect for dealing with fire types. I want it to have the ability Aftermath, and I'm striving for a final moveset of Hex, Acrobatics, Thunder Wave, and Strength Sap. All of these movesets are gonna be subject to change because we don't know if moves like Strength Sap, which weren't in the 4th generation, are gonna be available in this new remake. I can catch a Drifloon, which will eventually evolve into a Drifblim once the Valley Windworks is accessible, and if Drifloon is obtainable in the same way that it was in the original game, I should try to, since the game comes out on Friday, lay all the way until that point, I can catch that Drifloon that same day. Now I want to cover Empoleon's electric type weakness, which is especially important because that is the type specialty of the final gym leader, Volkner. And for that I want to use a Hippowdon, which I think is a very interesting choice that I don't regularly see in Pokemon teams for this generation. Hippowdon is a solely ground type, and I want it to have the ability Sandstream. I think it's the only ability that it can have outside of its hidden ability. And I'm striving for a final moveset of Earthquake. Obviously, if you have a ground type and you don't have Earthquake, what are you doing with your life? Crunch, Body Slam, and Rest. Rest is for Hippowdon's surprisingly high HP that I didn't know it had. It also has very good defense and very good attack. The 4th Pokemon I want to use is another one of my favorites of this generation, and that is Gallade. Gallade is a Psychic and Fighting type, and I want to have it the ability Steadfast. I'm aiming for a final moveset of Psycho Cut, Close Combat, Leaf Blade, and Night Slash. A lot of these moves have an increased critical hit ratio, which is kind of crucial for Gallade's base stats. Gallade is a fighting type, so we can deal with Hippowdon's weakness to Ice, and Drifblim's weaknesses to Ice, Rock, and Dark. And being that Gallade is also a psychic type, we are now covering Empoleon's fighting type weakness. So now that we've covered all of Empoleon's weaknesses, so now I want to move on to a Pokemon that I want to use that I've never used. And I wanted to have one of the new Eeveelutions from that generation in my team. And so I did some research, and I found that Leafeon doesn't have a varied moveset. It's not a very diverse moveset, so I opted instead for Glaceon. Glaceon is a pure ice type. I want it to have the ability Snow Cloak. I believe it's the only ability it can have aside from its hidden ability, and I'm striving for a final moveset of Blizzard, Shadow Ball, Hail, and Toxic. If Toxic is not available in this game as a TM like it was previously, I will try to opt for Protect. As a side note, Glaceon is going to be very important in that final battle against Cynthia. I don't know how it's going to perform against her Garchomp because Glaceon is not the fastest Pokemon of the bunch, but when we get there, we will figure it out. Glaceon is weak to Fire, Rock, both of which can be covered by Empoleon's Water type, Fighting, which can be covered by Drifblim, and Steel, which can be covered by Gallade. But I don't want Gallade to be like the only counter for some of these types, such as Steel, which has a lot of resistances. And so I want to use a Fire type because there was a lack of Fire types in this generation. And so I've opted for an unconventional choice. Hopefully this is still in the game. I kind of want to go with Rotom in its heat form. Rotom in its heat form is an electric and fire type with the ability Levitate, and I would be striving for a moveset of Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Overheat, and Nasty Plot. Heat Rotom is only weak to Rock and Water. Rock can be covered by Empoleon, and Water can be covered by Rotom, being an electric type. But now I have to worry about what if the Platinum Dex is available, but it's only available in the National Dex. As a foolproof method of choosing my team, I have come up with a modified regional Dex team in case we do not have the Platinum Dex available. So the original 3 choices of Empoleon, Drifloon, and Hippowdon would stay the same, but in place of Gallade being that hard-hitting fighting type, I've opted for Toxicroak. In place of Glaceon for that ice type, I have chosen a Abomasnow. Abomasnow is kind of a risky choice. It is a grass and ice type with 7 weaknesses. And finally, in place of Rotom, because I still want that electric type, I have opted for Luxray. It is a common choice, and I wanted to avoid that choice. There aren't really any other electric types in the game that are kind of worthwhile. I didn't want to use Luxray on my team because it's such a common option. Most teams in the original Diamond and Pearl, and in Platinum as well, it kind of happened. And so I really thought about it, but there's not really a way around it. And Luxray being an electric type, I really want that electric type because I remember the 4th gym leader, Wake, he has a Gyarados, and I remember not having electric type and having a really hard time dealing with that Gyarados. I also remember not having a ground type and having a really hard time dealing with Volcano, and I also remember having an over-leveled starter and the rest of my team was kind of okay. And then we had the HM Slave who did not have like any levels at all, dealing with Cynthia's Garchomp, or Cynthia's entire team in general. So we will cross that bridge when we get there, but I really hope that I can go with my dream team that I said originally, and if not, I will go with that modified team. But yeah, leave a comment with your teams. I really want to hear about them. If you haven't thought about them, just comment your favorite Sinnoh Pokemon, and I appreciate you being here. Leave a like if you want, and thank you for watching.